Aloha! Kids, you're back. And it looks like a few more people too that are watching. Okay, I just did a short on the ride I gave to a serial killer. So this is it, episode 79. I'm sure you've all been waiting for this true little story that Uncle Martin has for you. The thumbnail is going to be, might as well be the guy that we're talking about. He was a serial killer, baseline serial killer. His name was Dale Housener. Now, I didn't know I had this guy in the back of my seat when I had him because what I saw on television was two fellas. One was a Mexican fella named Samuel Dietman, and then there was Dale Housener. They didn't have their names, they just had the two faces. One was a Mexican face, and the next one was a white guy with long blonde hair. That's all they had, pictures of the people that survived the shootings. That were able to they gave a pretty good drawing of the guy. Except when I looked at this guy, I said, hey, he looks familiar. It can't be that guy because that guy had long hair. I didn't know people could have a wig on, or they could shave their head, which apparently was either or on this fella. So let me give you a little background check here, kids, on whoever's watching. I was this spree of killings was going on for 14 months from 2005 to 2006, and it was from Phoenix Valley, from Gilbert to Tolleson. And apparently these were people, there was 8 people that were killed. 10 animals were killed. There was 19 people wounded. Excuse me. And I believe, now that I think of it, it could have been more because of what Mr. Housener said to me, that it could be more. So this is the story, how it goes, kids, and everybody that's watching. I was hired on AAA Yellow Cab. I was a cab driver, as I said in the past. Boy, I got a lot of stories on that cab driving stuff, but not like this one. So it was April. It was 2 days after Easter. So it was April 18th that I was actually hired. Now, I didn't know anything about cab driving, except during that first week, I was listening to all these cab drivers that were dying on the west side of town. So I said, well, that's the last place I'm going to be going. I'm going to stay on the east side of town. So what happened was I had a call on a Friday evening, and it was about, let's say, 16, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was a Friday. So it was about 9 days in on me driving. I didn't even have 2 weeks, and I got this call that boop 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 boop. It had the pickup, and it was 7th Street in Camelback. It was a Chevron station. If anybody knows where 7th Street in Camelback is, there's a Chevron station. It's been there forever, and right under that it had the person's attire, which they always put what the people are dressed in, so you don't make any mistakes. So that had said this person has a white t-shirt and has black and white checkered pants. So I said, well, that's easy enough to figure out what I'm going to be looking for. So I pull up to the Chevron station, and here this guy is, short blonde hair. He's looking over. There's a car. There's a blue car. That's all I remember, off to the side, under the canopy part. And there's like 4 or 5 Mexican fellas with the hood up, and they're all looking at the engine. And this guy that has a white T-shirt and a black and white checkered pants, he's looking into the engine too. So I pull right up in front of the blue car, and I look right at this fella in the white t-shirt and black and white checkered pants. I'm looking at him, and he looks at me. Well, and then he looks at me. And I'm looking at him. We're looking at each other, eyeball to eyeball. And nobody does? Well, then I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, I said, like, do you want to ride? And he just goes back looking at the engine. So I'm thinking, I'm new. I'm a new driver. I don't know this. I just said, well, must not be the guy. So I go off to the left and I park. I'm waiting for the next call. In fact, I even called in and I said, hey, there's a guy with a white shirt and white checkered pants, but apparently you got the wrong guy. This person does not want to ride. I'm open for the next call. So I'm sitting there for like 10 minutes. And all of a sudden, I see this guy look up from the engine, looking at me like he's never seen me before, and starts running toward me. Well, I had the passenger window down, and I rolled it up. And he comes up, and I rolled it down just a little bit because he's now all excited that he sees me. It's like it's the first time he ever saw me. So my first instinct was, he's not getting it in this car. All right? That little heart voice that says, do not let this person in your car. But I wasn't listening to that little voice. I had asked this guy a question. I said, hey, look, Sparky, why, when I was over there 10 minutes ago, and I'm going, what's going on? And you looked away, why didn't you get into my car? You know what he said? Very calmly. Well, I was looking back at the car because I thought I could help them. I don't know why it didn't register to me. Maybe it was the calmness that he had. I said, oh, well, maybe you were going to... where are you going? He says, I'm just going down Central to Mahoney's. It was a bar and grill. I said, Mahoney's, yeah, I know where that is. It's about a $30 fare. Okay. Get in the car. So he gets in the car. He has a bag of chips he's munching down. And by this time, it's sundown. I'm heading from 7th Street. Anybody knows Phoenix? 7th Street to Central. And at that time, in 2006, that's when all the Central was being ripped up for the light rail that was being put in. And it was a little bumpy, but you can still drive on it, And so this is what happens, kids. This is when I knew I had somebody. When you have somebody with that face, the blank stare, that means the lights are on and nobody's home. All right, little secret there. When someone looks at you like that, to be concerned, there should be a red flag. So I didn't get more than a block. I was at the light, and after the light on 7th Street, I'm going across the intersection, and I hear this guy say, I'm from Texas, and I hate all the people here. And it was very direct, like in the back of my head, and I said, that's rather negative. He kind of calmed him down a little, like maybe he was thinking over what I had said. And then I didn't get more than another block. And then he said, people are like trash. They should be taken out. And I'm starting to feel like this guy's trying to incite fear on me or something. And you know how I feel about fear, kids. It's just not going to happen. And I've told you in many episodes in the past, on bullies, to bosses, to whoever they are, when they try to incite fear on you, you can't accept it. You have to throw it away. So after he said people are like trash, they have to be taken out, and he said especially people at bus stops. And then I said, partner, that is one heck of a lot of karma that you're going to be taking on feeling like that. So he was quiet again, kept munching his chips as we're going to this destination of Mahoney's. So we get up a block before Central, which I had planned on making a left, And but he screams out, "No, don't take Central," because he says, "Well, how you going there?" I said, "I'm going to take Central." He says, "No, don't take Central." And we're coming up to the street, Mariposa. Mariposa means butterfly. And he wanted to make a left on. And I didn't know. Prior to this, I've always followed what the people want. That's your job as a cab driver. You follow what they want to do. But that little voice was screaming at me and saying, "Do not take Mariposa." I listened to that little voice and I went forward, and he starts screaming, "Go back to Mariposa and make a left." And I said, "No, we're right here at Central. I'm making a left, and we're going to go straight on down, and then we're going to go to Mahoney's right off to Central." So then he flips out again, totally at me, and says these words. It's killing is easy. It's even easier to take out a cab driver. Boy, oh boy, when I heard that, the back of my hair stood up. And I thought, this guy's definitely trying to scare me. So as I said in the past, kids, when everybody's screaming at you, you always speak in a soft voice, like I had been doing in the last discussion with this gentleman. Until when he said that, it's even easier to take out a cab driver, I realized that I was a cab driver. And it sounded like he maybe did this type of thing to some other cab drivers. So I immediately, I raised my, well, at that point, I felt this immediate feeling of a blue protection. I believe it was Archangel Michael, because I felt I was in a bubble. There was kind of a heat involved. As we know, as angels do give off that radiance. I felt a protection around me, and I felt that I had to deal with this guy on a little stronger note. So I yelled back at him. I'm still having my eyes on the road, but I said, "This ain't Texas, partner. We have the right to carry, and we don't need any license to carry here in Arizona." See, at that time in Texas, you needed a permit to carry. And I believe that as of 2021, Texas has changed that rule. They have the same rules as Arizona now. Imagine that. So this guy immediately says, "You have a gun?" Kids, I lied. I told you how not to fib or lie. But in this situation, I figured, we're playing poker now. Nobody knows who has what. I don't know what he has. He doesn't know what I have. And I said, "Oh yeah, I got a gun. I got a 357, and I do. But I didn't have it on me. I had just taken it out a couple days prior because I cleaned the whole car out, and I forgot to put it back under my seat. So here I am with a guy, rather negative, saying how easy it is to kill people, and even it's even easier for a cab driver. Well, yeah, I guess I had to lie. I had to say, yeah, I got a 357, and I know how to shoot it very well. And then he says, "Oh, really?" And then I had to go into another story, which was a true story. A couple of weeks prior to this time, I had gone out to the desert. I had this light from a old vehicle. It was a burnt out bulb, headlight, and I walked off 85 yards. I was going to do 100 yards, but I felt 85 yards would be perfect. So I did. I told him how I got a 9-inch barrel 57. He doesn't know if I have it under the seat next to me or what. He doesn't know any of that. And I said it took 1, 2, 3, 4. I was all around it, and on the 5th shot, I took out the light. And he says, "That's fantastic shooting." I said, yeah. And I've got other guns that I'm even better with, but that was another lie. I just had my 357. So now, when I'm mentioning guns, he's like my best buddy. He's talking about all the guns that he has, a shotgun, and all these other guns, and he loves his guns. I said, yeah, well, that's nice. So now we're getting up to Mahoney's, and I tell him that, well, the fare is like, I think it was like $30. And he says, oh, do you have any change? And he gave me 2 20s. I said, yeah, I got change. And he says, oh, just give me 5 back. So I'm thinking, this guy's a $5 tipper. This is the last guy I think I would ever get a tip. So I said, no, thank you very much. And I said, by the way, what's your name? And he says, my name is Dale. And then he stopped Dale. He said, Dave. I never mentioned, I never thought, well, why bring up Dale when your name is Dave? I said, maybe just a. I said, oh, Dave, well, that's my brother's name. I said, well, have a great day. And we shook hands. I shook hands with the serial killer as he gets out. Now, kids, this could have gone either way in so many different directions. First of all, you can never give out fear to somebody that's really yelling behind your neck in this situation or in your face. You can never give out fear, whether it be a bully, whether it be a boss, or someone that's very, very negative, because they will take advantage of that every time. And as we know, episode 5, fear is cool. As we know, I was brought up Italian, and that was the game we played. To give fear to someone, well, at least make them pee and poo their pants. And you know how that goes. I got very positive with that until at the end, when I tell you about how bro almost didn't come back because of the fear I inflicted on him. That again, bro, I apologize immensely that I never played that game again to give out fear, because we know about how negative it is. There was a lot of shootings with cab drivers that didn't make it. They don't know who did it. And I'm thinking now, it could have been this guy, Dale Housener. I don't know. But I was going to go forward. That's what I'm saying. I never listened to the news. I was just working 24/7. I was just trying to make my mortgage payments. And I didn't have time to listen to the news or look at it except those 2 posters. Now, the next time I look at the news, it's like in a couple of years later, 6, 7, 8, it's about 2008 or 9, not quite sure. Here this same guy is sitting on the stand giving his, he doesn't using his lawyers, and he was giving some spiel about how, I don't know, he was saying, I think he said something like, people are like trash, they should be taken out. And my ears perked up, and I said, boy, that sounds familiar. And I looked at him, I said, that's the guy. That's the guy I had in my back seat. So I'm telling everybody about this, and they're saying, I said, well, I'm going to go forward and tell what I know about this. And then people said, nah, you probably shouldn't do that because he's already in the stand getting convicted. Plus, there's a ton of people standing in a line giving their view on this thing. And it's really not necessary. So I just let it go. If there was nobody, if there was no witnesses, I would have been right there. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So, guns are very dangerous, kids, in the wrong hands. As I said in that episode 53, bullets, that one, they were definitely dangerous in my bro's hands. Or they can be positive. Bullets and guns. Anything you have in your hands, kids, can be used positively or negatively. When they're negative people, it's pretty positive that a law-abiding citizen should be able to have the ability to protect himself. That's all I'm going to leave it at that at this time. Put it on the back shelf. It's kind of a touchy topic. Don't want to really go, and you know how I am about touchy topics. And how there are negative places. And probably the west side is still rather negative. I noticed there was a lot more things going on the west side than in the east side. That's why I pretty much just stayed in Scottsdale and North Scottsdale in my drivings. Right now, this is a short one, kids. I just don't really have much more to say about this little ride for Mr. Dale Housener, except he did go to jail and he didn't last very long there. You can look up why. It's one of those things that happen when you go to jail. As you well know, Uncle Martin did go to jail, but I gave that one little true story on Hot Beans jail when I was there. I got a bunch more. Can't wait. Put that on the back shelf. But for right now, yeah, negative places. I had to look up Magoo Rock, which was when I crashed into it. And just recently, 8/11/23 of this year, there was a 3-car collision. If you look up Magoo Rock, you'll see line upon line how some places are really more negative than others. So anybody going down Route 101, going through Magoo Rock, please be careful. Keep your eyes open. It is a wall of negativity. Okay, speaking of, I'm ready to say aloha. And as you well know, for more than a year now, I've been starting aloha and ending with aloha. But now that we've had this situation in Maui, I haven't done this before, but I feel it appropriate that we give out a little prayer to Maui. For all you people that are God haters, it's probably time for you to head on out, because Uncle Martin's going to give a prayer for all the people in Maui. So you better leave or stay. So we call, and I'm going to end it with 3 ohms. And at the end, when I'm doing the ohms, anyone that's watching, go with the ohm, because in episode 36, Harmonics, I showed you what an ohm will do. And I'll expand upon that now, that when you do an ohm, it's a sealing of a prayer. It's like amen, but even more. The ohm will go out to the universe and come back, collecting more of that light and love that the ohm gives. So this is what we're going to do. We'll do a little prayer and meditate upon it. So I will do this. We call to our beloved Father, Mother, God of light, to come forth and give blessings and healing to all those in need in Maui. We call to the 7 archangels: Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Jophiel, Archangel Zachiel, Archangel Shamuel, and Archangel Uriel, to come forth with protection, love, and light around all the souls that have made their transition out of Maui. Take them to the retreats of light, where they will now be schooled until their next venture, wherever it may be. Let their souls be protected, and let all those people that have been left behind, let there be healing upon their bodies, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Let them stand strong and roll back that darkness that may be coming toward them on any land grabbers that should be put in their place. This is sacred land, Maui, so let it be held by those people that have their property, and let there be help being brought to them in a quicker manner. Let their phones be turned back on, and let this be done in accordance to the will of God, with love and light, as much as the law will allow. And we seal it with an ohm. And we call all this forth in accordance to the will of God. For as we know, it's not my will, but thine be done. Until we see each other, we're going to see each other again, guys. Probably even before next Sunday. Okay. Until then, aloha and be well.